Everything is energy, and this connection you feel stretching across distance and silence is not imagination but quantum reality unfolding in the invisible architecture of consciousness itself. You have been taught that relationships exist only in physical proximity, in spoken words and tangible gestures, but the truth operates on frequencies your rational mind cannot measure, yet your soul knows with absolute certainty. What happens in your energetic field ripples through theirs, collapsing possibilities and reshaping probabilities in ways modern science is only beginning to whisper about in laboratories studying quantum entanglement and non-local consciousness. This person who walked away, who chose silence, who convinced themselves they could exist independently of what you shared, they remain bound to you through threads woven in dimensions beyond the material plane. Every shift in your frequency sends tremors through their energy body, whether they consciously recognize it or not, whether they admit it or resist it with every defense mechanism their ego can construct. You are not separate beings occupying separate realities. You are interconnected nodes in a vast field of consciousness that responds instantaneously to internal transformation. The scientific spiritual hybrid approach you have been seeking validates what your intuition already knows. Consciousness creates reality, observation collapses the wave function, and your internal state determines the external manifestation of this connection. When you change your energetic signature, you do not simply alter your own experience. You fundamentally transform the entire dynamic, rewriting the script both of you are unconsciously following, activating potentials that remained dormant in timelines you had not yet chosen through the power of your focused awareness. Yesterday, something shifted in the quantum field surrounding this connection, and though you may not have seen evidence in the physical realm, the energetic restructuring has already begun its cascade through layers of reality that will soon materialize in forms your conscious mind can recognize and celebrate. Write "energy is everything" in the comments to align your frequency with this quantum truth and activate the manifestation process that has already begun working in dimensions you cannot yet see. The physics of human connection operates on principles identical to magnetic polarity, where like charges repel and opposite energies create irresistible attraction that defies logical resistance and conscious intention. When you chase another person energetically, reaching out repeatedly, obsessing over their response, monitoring their activity, flooding their field with your desperate need, you create an energetic repulsion force that pushes them further into avoidance and withdrawal, no matter how much their soul might actually desire the connection you are trying to force into manifestation. Energy flows naturally toward scarcity and mystery, toward that which does not need validation or completion from external sources, toward the frequency that signals wholeness rather than the vibration that broadcasts emptiness. When you chase, you transmit lack. When you rest in your own sufficiency, you emanate abundance, and all of consciousness conspires to move toward abundant frequencies because evolution itself is programmed to seek the highest available energy. The masculine-feminine polarity that Carl Jung identified in every human psyche operates through this same push-pull mechanism, where masculine energy pursues and feminine energy receives, where yang extends and yin contracts, creating the eternal dance that generates new realities through the friction and fusion of complementary forces. When both people chase, they create same-pole repulsion. When both withdraw, they create stagnant separation. But when one person embodies centered, grounded, self-sufficient energy, they activate the magnetic return of the other through pure energetic law. You have been chasing energetically even in your silence, broadcasting your need through thought forms that travel across the field of consciousness and land in their awareness as pressure, as obligation, as the heavy weight of someone else's incomplete healing demanding their participation. This energetic chasing creates the very distance you are trying to close, manufacturing the absence you are attempting to end, because consciousness reads frequency, not intention, and your frequency has been screaming need while your words remain silent. The moment you stop chasing, not through forced discipline but through genuine energetic shift, the entire dynamic rebalances instantly, creating space for natural attraction to reassert itself without the interference of desperate grasping that corrupts every authentic connection. Nature abhors a vacuum with such intensity that the void you create through genuine detachment rushes to fill itself with exactly what you released, returning transformed and purified through the alchemical process of separation that burned away everything false and left only the essential truth. When you stop chasing this person energetically, withdrawing your attention from their absence and redirecting your life force toward your own expansion and healing and joy, you create an energetic vacuum in their field that their consciousness registers as loss, as absence, as the sudden disappearance of something they did not know they had grown dependent upon until it vanished. The energetic rebalancing that occurs in the moment of your authentic detachment operates faster than physical reality can display, rearranging probabilities in the quantum field before manifestation catches up to show you visible confirmation in the material world. They feel your withdrawal before they understand it, experiencing unease or restlessness or sudden thoughts of you that seem to arrive from nowhere, because their energy body recognizes that a source of attention and validation and reflected consciousness has been removed from their field. Carl Jung understood that what we resist persists, gaining power through our opposition and growing stronger through our attempts to escape or deny or overcome it through force of will. When you resist their absence, fighting against the reality of separation, and demanding their return through the sheer force of your wanting, you lock both of you into the pattern of distance, cementing the very dynamic you wish to dissolve. But the moment you stop resisting their absence, accepting what is without collapsing into passive resignation, you release the energetic lock that has been holding the painful pattern in place. Your detachment creates energetic tension in their field, the way removing weight from one side of a scale causes immediate imbalance that demands correction through natural forces. They begin to sense that the dynamic has fundamentally shifted, that you are no longer waiting or wanting or needing in the way you once did, and this sensing triggers either attraction or acceleration, either drawing them back to investigate what changed or pushing them permanently away because the karmic contract has completed its teaching. Either outcome serves your highest evolution, though your ego cannot yet see how both roads lead to your ultimate fulfillment and joy. The rebalancing happens whether you witness it or not, whether it manifests as reunion or release, because energy always seeks equilibrium, and your shift forces corresponding movement in their reality. You and this person exist as energetic mirrors reflecting back to each other the unhealed aspects and untapped potentials living in your respective unconscious minds, showing each other exactly what needs integration and transformation through the emotional charges you trigger in one another. What you see in them, their withdrawal, their fear, their inability to show up fully, reflects a frequency within your own field, an unresolved pattern you are being called to heal not in them, but in yourself through the profound realization that external change begins with internal shift. When you see their distance, you are witnessing your own relationship with abandonment. When you experience their silence, you are meeting your own suppressed voice. When you feel their inability to choose you, you are confronting the ways you have not chosen yourself in the thousand small betrayals of self-abandonment that led you to seek completion in another person, rather than cultivating it within your own consciousness. You cannot change them through any amount of convincing or explaining or demonstrating your worth, because consciousness does not respond to external pressure, but only to energetic resonance that matches its current frequency. But you can change yourself, healing the wounds that made you vibrate at a frequency that attracted someone unavailable, transforming the internal patterns that created the external dynamic you are now struggling to escape. And when you change yourself fundamentally, when you do the deep internal work that shifts your energetic signature, everything changes, because the mirror must reflect the new image you are broadcasting. This is not spiritual bypassing or victim blaming, but recognition of your creative power in a universe that responds to frequency rather than words, to vibration rather than effort, to beingness rather than doing. Your healing becomes their invitation to heal. Your transformation creates permission for their transformation. Your frequency shift sends an energetic update through the field that connects you, offering them access to new possibilities they could not reach while you remained vibrating at the old frequency. The mirror shows you both who you are and who you are becoming, reflecting the past and the potential future simultaneously, waiting for you to choose which image you will embody through the power of focused energetic alignment. Carl Jung discovered that beneath individual consciousness lies the collective unconscious, a vast shared field of archetypal patterns and primordial images that connects every human being through layers deeper than the personal psyche, transcending time and space and individual identity. You and this person are not connected only through your personal history and shared experiences, but through strands woven into the collective unconscious itself, linking your souls in a language the ego cannot hear, but the heart understands with perfect clarity. This connection operates through telepathy that manifests as sudden thoughts of them arriving unbidden, through dreams where you meet in realms beyond the physical, through synchronicities that seem too perfectly timed to be coincidence, but reveal themselves as evidence of the invisible communication happening constantly beneath the surface of ordinary awareness. When you think of them intensely, you send energetic information through the field. When they dream of you unexpectedly, they are receiving transmissions from your consciousness. When you both experience the same emotions or thoughts simultaneously despite separation, you are demonstrating the reality of non-local consciousness that science is only beginning to validate. Your souls speak in frequencies beyond language, communicating through the symbolic language of dreams and intuitive knowing and bodily sensations that carry messages your rational mind tries to dismiss as imagination. You have felt them thinking of you because they were. You have known they were struggling because energetic information travels through the connections maintained in the collective unconscious. You have experienced their presence in meditation or quiet moments because consciousness is not limited to individual bodies, but extends through infinite fields of awareness. This is not wishful thinking or desperate fantasy, but the actual mechanics of how consciousness operates when freed from the illusion of separation that the ego maintains to preserve its sense of individual identity and control. The collective unconscious connects you to everyone, but some connections carry stronger charge, deeper resonance, more karmic significance, marking them as soul contracts that exist to teach specific lessons and facilitate particular transformations. Subscribe to receive advanced understanding of these spiritual mechanics and deepen your mastery of the energetic realm where all manifestation originates before taking physical form. You are learning to operate from the level of cause rather than effect, consciousness rather than circumstance, creative power rather than passive reaction. Detachment is not the same as not caring, not equivalent to giving up or resigning yourself to loss or convincing yourself you never wanted the connection in the first place through spiritual bypass and forced indifference. True detachment means outcome independence, the ability to hold your desire lightly while remaining unattached to whether it manifests in the specific form your ego has predetermined as the only acceptable result. When you stop needing the outcome to look exactly as you have imagined it, you align with the frequency of receiving it, because need broadcasts lack, and lack attracts more lack in the perfect mirror of a universe that gives you more of what you already are. Desperation repels what you desire. Peaceful preference attracts it effortlessly, because high frequencies automatically magnetize corresponding manifestations, while low frequencies keep you locked in cycles of wanting without receiving. The manifestation paradox reveals itself in this truth. The moment you genuinely stop needing them to return, you create the energetic conditions that make their return probable, even inevitable, because your detachment signals to the universe that you are ready to receive rather than desperately grasping from a place of perceived unworthiness. Yet this detachment cannot be performed or faked or forced through spiritual techniques designed to manipulate outcomes, because energy reads truth beneath every performance and responds only to authentic frequency. You must actually arrive at the place where you would be genuinely fine if they never returned, where you have built a life so full and meaningful that their absence no longer creates a gaping wound in your sense of wholeness and completion. This is not cruel requirement but liberation, freeing you from the prison of attachment that keeps you small and dependent and vibrating at frequencies too low to attract the elevated experiences your soul is calling you toward. Detachment allows you to hold space for their return without collapsing when they do not appear on your timeline, trusting that divine timing operates with intelligence far beyond your limited perspective and understanding. You become outcome independent not through suppressing your desire but through expanding your sense of possibility to include multiple pathways to fulfillment, some of which involve this person, and others which lead you toward something even better suited to your evolution. You will know your frequency has genuinely shifted not through external confirmation, but through internal markers that signal profound transformation occurring in the deepest layers of your consciousness and identity. Peace replaces obsession. You find yourself going hours or entire days without compulsively checking for messages or signs or evidence that they are thinking of you, because your energy has returned to your own center rather than bleeding out toward them in desperate seeking. Clarity emerges where confusion once dominated your thoughts, revealing the patterns and dynamics with objective understanding rather than emotional reactivity, showing you exactly what was real and what was projection, what served your growth and what kept you trapped in cycles of suffering. You shift focus naturally toward your own life, your own goals, your own joy, finding genuine enthusiasm for pursuits that have nothing to do with them or the connection or the outcome you have been obsessively trying to control. External confirmations begin appearing as synchronicities that feel too specific to dismiss as coincidence. You see their name everywhere, encounter references to inside jokes you shared, receive messages from mutual connections, experience dreams with clear symbolic meaning. New opportunities arrive that would not have been accessible at your previous frequency, drawing people and circumstances into your reality that reflect your elevated state and expanded possibilities. The most powerful sign reveals itself in this paradox. When you stop actively looking for them in every moment of your day, you start noticing them everywhere in ways that feel playful rather than painful, abundant rather than scarce. You see their car and smile instead of spiraling into anxiety. You hear their favorite song and feel warm nostalgia instead of desperate longing. You think of them with affection rather than need, blessing rather than grasping. That shift from pain to peace in relation to their memory signals that your energy has fundamentally transformed, that you have released the attachment cords that were draining your life force, and reclaimed your power from the external validation you were seeking through their attention and approval. You become magnetic in this state, radiating the kind of energy that naturally attracts people toward you because you no longer need them to complete you or heal you or prove your worthiness. Your frequency shift registers first in your internal experience before manifesting as external changes, so trust the internal markers even when physical reality has not yet caught up to reflect the new energetic signature you are broadcasting. The lag time between energetic shift and material manifestation varies, but the shift itself guarantees eventual alignment in the visible world. Their energetic response to your shift happens instantaneously in the quantum field, even if days or weeks pass before it manifests as physical action or contact or visible change in their behavior toward you. They sense your withdrawal at levels deeper than conscious awareness, experiencing it as subtle unease or restlessness or sudden intrusive thoughts of you that seem to arrive from nowhere, but represent their energy body registering that something fundamental has changed in the dynamic. For some, this sensing creates panic, activating their attachment system and triggering the very pursuit they were previously resisting, because human psychology is wired to want what pulls away and lose interest in what chases. They feel the absence of your attention like a phantom limb, noticing the space where your energy used to flow toward them with consistent focus, and beginning to wonder why you stopped. What changed? Whether they made a mistake in walking away from connection that suddenly seems more valuable in its absence. For others, your shift creates attraction through a different mechanism. They sense your peace, and it draws them like a beacon, because healed energy is magnetic in ways wounded energy can never be, radiating the kind of wholeness and self-sufficiency that triggers desire in those capable of recognizing and appreciating it. Your frequency shift shows them a version of you they have never met, someone who has done the internal work and emerged transformed, and this new version fascinates them in ways the old version could not. The magnetic pull of healed energy operates automatically, requiring no effort or strategy or manipulation on your part, simply broadcasting the truth of your transformation and allowing those capable of matching your new frequency to respond naturally. Some will be drawn closer. Others will drift further away because they cannot resonate with your elevated state, and both outcomes serve your highest good. By aligning you with what matches your evolution, they feel your energetic shift whether they consciously understand it or not, whether they reach out immediately or take months to process what they sense. Because energy speaks louder than words, and your transformation sends undeniable signals through the field connecting you. Share this energetic wisdom with someone who needs to understand that their internal work is already creating ripples in the consciousness of those they think have forgotten them. The path to manifesting your desired reality requires energetic alignment that begins with radical refocusing of your attention from them to yourself, from external circumstances to internal state, from what you lack to what you are actively creating through the power of your consciousness. You must stop making them the source of your happiness, and instead become so absorbed in cultivating joy through pursuits that feed your soul that they become irrelevant to your sense of wholeness and completion. Raise your frequency not by forcing positive thoughts about them returning, but by genuinely engaging with activities and people and experiences that elevate your vibration naturally, organically, authentically. Do the things that make you forget time exists. Spend energy on creative projects that consume your focus. Nurture relationships that reflect back your worth without conditions or games or manipulation. The version of you who does not need them to validate your worthiness or complete your happiness or rescue you from loneliness becomes the version of you that is irresistible to them. Because that version broadcasts self-sufficiency and abundance and wholeness that triggers desire in ways neediness and desperation never can. You become magnetic not through techniques or strategies, but through genuine transformation that shifts your energetic signature to a frequency that naturally attracts what matches your elevated state. This is not about performing detachment to manipulate them into returning, not about pretending you do not care while secretly obsessing, not about spiritual bypass that suppresses authentic emotion in service of maintaining false peace. This is about actually doing the work that transforms you at such fundamental levels that you would genuinely be fine if they never returned, because you have created a life so rich and meaningful that their absence no longer devastates you. From that place of genuine sufficiency, you can hold space for their return without needing it, desire their presence without demanding it, hope for reunion without collapsing when it does not arrive on your timeline. You trust that if they are meant to return, your elevated frequency will magnetize them back naturally. If they are not meant to return, something better suited to your evolution will arrive to fill the space they once occupied. Either outcome leads to your fulfillment when you operate from frequency alignment rather than desperate forcing, from trust rather than control, from creative power rather than victim consciousness. Multiple timelines exist simultaneously in the quantum field of infinite possibility, each one representing a different version of your future, depending on which frequency you choose to embody through the power of your sustained attention and emotional investment. In one timeline, they return transformed by your mutual separation, ready to meet you at the elevated frequency you now embody, creating a relationship that honors both of your growth and evolution. In another timeline, someone even better aligned with your true essence arrives, carrying less karmic baggage and more capacity for the kind of love you have always deserved, but could not receive until you became the frequency that could attract it. Your energy does not simply influence which timeline you experience, but literally collapses the wave function of probability, selecting from infinite possibilities the specific reality that matches your dominant vibration and sustained focus. You are not passively waiting to see which outcome the universe delivers, but actively choosing through every thought and feeling and belief and action which version of reality will materialize in your physical experience. Both timelines lead to your happiness if you have done the internal work that makes you capable of recognizing and receiving happiness regardless of which specific form it takes when it arrives. Your ego insists that only their return can satisfy you, but your soul knows that fulfillment comes from alignment with your true nature, not from possession of any particular person or outcome. You are the creator of your reality, not the victim of circumstances outside your control, not the helpless recipient of whatever fate decides to deliver, but the conscious architect of your experience through the energetic frequencies you choose to embody moment by moment. The universe responds to your frequency with mathematical precision, acting back to you in physical form what you have been broadcasting energetically, giving you more evidence of whatever you believe to be true about yourself and your worthiness and your capacity to receive love. Choose the frequency of wholeness, sufficiency, joy, and peaceful preference for the highest outcome rather than desperate attachment to one specific manifestation. Trust that your energy is already rearranging reality in your favor, drawing toward you whatever matches your elevated state, whether that manifests as their transformed return or something even better arriving to exceed your limited vision of possibility.